bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA.
You just shut the You okay?
Holy cow, they're throwing bricks at the police.
This is our city, and this was Mexico!
I think they've thrown me in jail 36 times in 36 months, and I think you've never seen me in a court of law. That means they're effing with me. And today, they crossed the line, because now they took my babies.
Katt Williams just dropped a bomb. He claims the LA riots, they're not what the media says. According to Katt, it's not just random chaos, it's a straight-up smokescreen. He says there's a dark plan hiding underneath it all, something way bigger than a clash in the streets. In his words, this makes everything else look like child's play. Forget the headlines. Katt says this ain't civil unrest. It's a setup, a slick, high-level move being pulled off right in front of us. While we're watching fires and protests, something shady is sliding through the shadows like it owns the place. Billionaires disappearing without a trace, Marines quietly hitting the ground, and protesters snatched off the sidewalks by agents with zero ID, no badges, no names, nothing. And while this madness unfolds, the media keeps it cute, calling it just another standoff between cops and crowds. But Katt, he's calling it out. He says it's an organized disaster, a trick to distract the public while the real game plays out in silence. He's been shouting warnings for years, and now look, LA is lit up.
This is where Donald Trump's immigration policies have ended up almost 5 months into his presidency. Pandemonium and lawlessness on the streets of one of America's biggest cities.
The Mexican flag is flying and anger directed at ICE.
Fires turning streets into infernos, downtowns glowing with smoke and sirens, even Waymo taxis are torched down to their bones. Protesters are losing it, screaming as ICE vans scoop people up like it's a war zone. LAPD getting pushed off the very corners they used to control like kings. But hold up, how did things spiral out of control this fast? 1 second LA was buzzing like normal, and the next, it was chaos in the streets. It all popped off the moment ICE launched these sudden wild raids across the city, planned down to the minute. And they didn't hit gang houses or shady spots, they hit everyday places. They pulled up on schools, parking lots, construction sites, even outside a Home Depot where dozens of undocumented workers were just out there trying to earn an honest check. Soon as those white vans showed up, word tore through the Latino neighborhoods like wildfire. Panic spread fast. People were running, hiding, calling family, locking doors. And before anyone even knew what was going on, Trump sent the play into overdrive. He dropped 2,000 National Guard troops right into LA's heart and didn't tell nobody. No warning to LAPD, no call to Gavin Newsom, not even a whisper to Mayor Karen Bass. He didn't wait, didn't ask, just sent the troops in like it was a takeover. And then it got even creepier. That's when the feds showed up, but not in any way you'd expect.
Get out of unlocked vans with tactical gear, run where they need to run to, grab people, and then kind of drive away. A lot of people are terrified by that, because they're not wearing like actual named things. Instead, it's regular clothes. So when people see this, they get terrified, even if they are Americans, because they don't know if they're going to be kidnapped.
These weren't regular agents. They didn't have marked cars, no badges, no body cams, just black gear, balaclavas, and heavy boots looking like they rode straight out of a military op. People were getting grabbed off the street, snatched in broad daylight by silent squads who never said a word, no IDs, no charges, just gone. That ain't law enforcement. That's something else. That's straight up abduction. And if you thought protests were gonna calm down, nah, they were already brewing. People were in the streets, angry and loud, and now this, it poured gasoline on everything. Folks weren't just protesting anymore. They were straight up raging. Fear, confusion, betrayal, it all mixed into something explosive. The city wasn't just reacting, it was erupting. What really set the whole thing off? It was how fast the people hit the streets. Protesters showed up within hours, banners flying, backpacks full of water bottles, ready to ride. That kind of speed doesn't just happen. It was like they were waiting for the signal. And before long, it got wild. Tear gas filled the air, rubber bullets flying everywhere, snipers popped up on rooftops, blacked out vans creeping through the streets packed with masked agents who weren't saying a word. Let's not pretend this is some everyday drama. Even back in 2020, when protests rocked the whole country, even during the Rodney King riots, they didn't roll out the National Guard in under 12 hours, that quick of a response. That's not reaction, that's preparation. This was planned out, no question. Even the LAPD chief came out and admitted they were left in the dark. They had no clue the raids were even happening until they were already going down. By the next morning, California was taking the Trump administration to court, straight up suing them for bringing in the National Guard without clearance. But while the news obsessed over burning Teslas and shattered store windows, nobody paused to ask the real questions. Why bring in military-level force over a few protests and spray paint tags? Why hit immigrant-heavy job sites with no warrants? And why are the same mystery agents snatching people in LA, showing up in other cities too, way outside their zone? And this right here is when Katt Williams stops sounding like he's just cracking jokes and starts sounding like he's been trying to tell us the truth all along, because nothing about this adds up. And Katt says that's the whole point. Confuse the public, keep everyone distracted, and while we're glued to the noise, the real plan slides right past us. Even when folks called him crazy, laughed him off, or claimed he was just high again, Katt never backed down. He kept speaking up because he knew something heavy was coming. While the world was brushing him off, he was connecting the dots. Go back to the 2000s, while other comedians were chasing sitcoms, corporate checks, and trying to stay clean for Hollywood, Katt was calling out the cops on stage. He was dragging police brutality into the spotlight before it was trending, saying stuff out loud that others were too scared to whisper, and he paid big for that truth. We're talking arrests, bogus headlines, nonstop smear campaigns. The machine came for him hard, but the darkest part, they came for his kids. Not once, not twice, 9 times. They raided his office and took his children right in front of his staff with no shame, no explanation. That's not just punishment, that's personal. And now, the same kind of pain Katt was dealing with back then now is what whole communities in LA are going through right now. Families ripped apart, lives flipped upside down. What Katt lived through is now playing out in the streets for everyone to see. Let's make one thing real clear. This ain't just about ICE. This is about how law enforcement's been flipped into a weapon, not to protect, but to silence, to erase people, to control the streets like it's a battlefield. What we're seeing now, it's not law and order, it's domination in uniform. Look around, LA looks like a live action version of everything Katt Williams warned us about. He didn't just talk the talk, he was calling this stuff out when nobody else had the guts. Way before the Epstein madness hit the news, Katt was already dragging his name through the mud. He exposed those elite freak parties when the media was still pretending they didn't exist. He was talking about the Illuminati, underground bunkers, and how the powerful scoop up new recruits from Hollywood and music circles, when most folks thought it was all just wild internet talk. But Katt, he was out here naming names, and that made him a threat. Years ago, he went in on the media too, said they use outrage to cover up censorship, and now, just look. All we're getting out of LA is fire, chaos, and chopped up clips with zero context. No full videos of the arrests, no press releases, no agent IDs. Journalists can't even get near the detained immigrants. Drones flying over hoods at midnight like it's a war zone. Ask yourself why? Because it ain't about justice, it's about keeping us distracted while something bigger moves in the shadows. Katt's been saying this ain't new, it's a refined playbook, a polished operation. The elite know exactly how to play this during national crises. And those black vans creeping through the night, Katt said it best. They're not here for peace, they're the panic delivery service. Let's break down the real facts. These agents out here, they're not taking down armed threats or dangerous criminals. Nope. They're targeting peaceful people, folks handing out water, holding signs, filming what's happening. One girl got snatched just for standing next to a banner that read, "No raids on stolen land." That's it? Another guy was tackled and cuffed while walking away from the protest zone. And still, nobody knows who these agents are. No names, no IDs, just shadows and tactical gear vanishing into vans. And right now, Katt's voice is starting to sound like the only one that makes any sense. He's been calling this stuff for years, But let's not get it twisted. This isn't just about injustice anymore. It's about money, straight up investment games. So ask yourself, who's really cashing in on all this chaos? Let's follow the money trail. Just this past week, 3 massive tech companies backed out of real estate deals in downtown LA. These were major projects, the kind that changed neighborhoods forever. But now, they're gone, packed up, moved on. And who's stepping in? Quiet little shell companies with no names, no headlines, but deep pockets and overseas ties. They're grabbing up blocks of distressed property for dirt cheap, while everyone's watching fires burn and protests rage. So while the city's crying out for help, somebody else is quietly buying the future. And if you think this is all coincidence, Katt would say, think again. So while protesters are getting pepper sprayed just for holding signs, billionaires are out here buying up entire blocks. This ain't just capitalism, this is coordinated chaos. And don't think it's new. The same exact playbook was used in New Orleans after Katrina, in Ferguson after the riots, in Baltimore after the uprising. Public outrage gets flipped into private opportunity every single time. The moment the community cries out, the sharks circle in, real estate firms move fast, developers get rich, and the people who actually live in those neighborhoods evicted, shipped out, forgotten like they were never there. That's the ugly pattern. And now LA is the biggest prize of them all. Why? Because LA's not just any city, it's the playground of the ultra-rich. Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, all of them got ties here. But guess what? None of them are in LA right now. They dipped the second things got hot. While the city's burning, they're off the radar, chilling in bunkers or mountain compounds, watching everything from secured locations like it's a live-streamed event. Even Elon, silent. Didn't say a word about the chaos in the city. Just threw up some tweet about space rockets while neighborhoods back home were literally on fire. And here's the kicker. Drones flying above protesters, arresting folks from the sky, yeah, those run on Tesla tech. Elon's own innovations are now being used against the same communities he once claimed to support. The twist? It doesn't end there. What we're seeing is just one layer of the game. And Katt, he's been saying it all along. When the powerful vanish and the cameras focus on chaos, you better believe someone's cashing in behind the scenes. New reports just dropped and they're wild. Private security contracts in Southern California exploding. Big name companies are cashing in hard on the fear that's sweeping through LA. Surveillance firms are locking down fresh government deals. Prison contractors getting bigger budgets left and right, all because detainments are skyrocketing. While people are busy watching protest clips rack up views on TikTok, someone else is out here stacking real money off every single arrest. And don't get it twisted, the National Guard doesn't show up for free. Every armored truck, every rubber bullet, every night vision camera costs big bucks. The federal government is now dumping hundreds of millions into riot control. That means gear, weapons, drones, mobile towers, all going straight into the wallets of defense contractors. The same companies that pushed for wars overseas, they're now making bank on American streets. So while LA's choking on tear gas, ICE vans are sweeping up immigrants and masked agents are pushing people into unmarked trucks. A very different picture is unfolding miles away in Hawaii. Tucked behind a 6-foot privacy wall and locked down by stacks of NDAs, Mark Zuckerberg's $270 million mega bunker is almost done. This isn't rumor, this ain't some internet myth. It's publicly filed, fully documented, and massive. Let's break it down. 30 bedrooms, giant underground food storage, a military-grade air system, independent power grids, escape tunnels. This ain't no rich guy flex. This is a restart button for society, a survival zone for when things go fully off the rails. And the timing, way too perfect to ignore. LA's falling apart while Zuckerberg builds a fortress. It's not just suspicious, it's calculated. And here's the kicker. He's not the only one doing it. Quietly, the ultra-rich are locking in safety while the rest of us are left to deal with smoke, chaos, and ghost agents in the streets. Property records and insider leaks are starting to paint a clear picture, and it's chilling. More and more billionaires are bailing on LA, moving their money, selling off real estate, and literally digging into the ground. Peter Thiel, he bought land in New Zealand years ago, and now he's building a straight-up fortress out there. Jeff Bezos, He's hiding out in a massive ranch compound in West Texas with its own airfield and a full renewable energy setup. It's not a ranch, it's a fortress in disguise. Then there's Elon Musk. He dumped his California properties and now splits his time between Austin and deep inside SpaceX facilities, not houses, facilities. So what's with the rush to disappear? What are they really running from? Katt Williams thinks he knows, and yeah, it sounds wild until it doesn't. These billionaires don't just know what's going on right now, they know what's coming next. And according to Katt, it ain't just more protests or political noise. He's talking about a full-blown system collapse, or worse, a collapse that's orchestrated to look natural. A full reset where the rich stay protected and the rest are left to burn. Here's where it gets even creepier. These bunkers, they're not about just riding out a storm, they're built for selective survival. You don't spend hundreds of millions building a self-sustaining underground world unless you believe most people won't make it. And these shelters, they're stacked with military-grade security systems and AI-powered surveillance. That's not prep for a natural disaster. That's not fear of zombies. Nah, they're worried about us, the public, the people, the ones they think might snap when the truth comes out. Katt's been screaming it for years, and now everything he warned about is coming into focus. Fast. But here's what Katt really wants people to wake up to. If these billionaires are gearing up for something so serious, they won't even say what it is. What does that tell you? Because let's be real, people with that kind of money don't drop hundreds of millions out of paranoia. They spend that kind of cash when there's a plan most of us don't get to see. Katt's been yelling this truth from the mic for years. Jeffrey Epstein, he wasn't some lone monster. He was the middleman, the supplier, the gatekeeper for something way bigger. And every time folks think that whole mess is buried, another rich weirdo creeps out of the dark to pick up exactly where Epstein left off. And here's the cold part. Every time the streets get loud, every time we're glued to chaos and protest footage, the real power moves are happening beneath the surface. That's the part they don't want us looking at. While the world's distracted by fire and outrage, the elite are executing plays that change the game forever. Katt's not just talking, he's warning.